Approach, Seeker, and Ask, for this is the Oracle Podcast. And my prophecy today is that I'm actually editing Casey, and the first 10 minutes of this episode got deleted by my recording software. So that was awesome. But basically, it was a bunch of banter and stuff. We were kind of just introducing the show and everything. So we're going to talk about episodes 7 and 8 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And then we have a bracket of mythological creatures at the end. This is one of my favorite episodes that I've ever recorded. And I'm really bummed that the first 10 minutes got deleted. But it is what it is. Can't do anything about that. So enjoy the rest of the episode. This is a really fun one, and I really hope you guys enjoy it. All right, thank you.
You want applesauce?
He also looks like he could have a great job at a used car sales lot or anything in that kind of realm. He is kind of sleazy, but they get past him, one of their last obstacles, and they make it to the underworld. And Annabeth is able to successfully distract Cerberus with
a little ball.
Yeah, that's always hilarious. I think that is
Love it.
I think that's such a fun, I don't know. I think that gag is always hilarious. Like I think that in the Hercules Disney movie, I think that's hilarious where he comes in with a stake and everything. I think that's really fun.
Yes. Just watching this big giant dog roll over. Even in like Harry Potter, like when they played him the music and he was like, "Oh, I'm a sweet dog now."
Yeah.
How like Hagrid's like, "Yes, I love this animal."
Yes, this is Fluffy. He's
Yes.
I got him off of a stranger in a pub. Shouldn't have said that.
But I'm pretty sure there's stories in other mythology where they, get past Cerberus with like little treats or like, scritches and stuff. He's just a dog at the end of the day.
He's just a good boy.
Just the goodest boy, yes.
Exactly. And then they carry on through the underworld. They get separated. I can't remember exactly the circumstance. It's been a little while since I watched this episode like clear last week because I wasn't going to have time to watch it. Now, for a little bit behind the scenes, we're recording this on Sunday, but the episode will come out on Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate Thanksgiving.
On Thanksgiving? Happy Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
That seems erroneous.
I'm just trying to stick to my Thursday release schedule. So
there you go. After turkey entertainment.
Exactly. Yeah. Everyone's going to be at their relative's house. They're going to be needing something to listen to while they wait for their turkeys to cook and everything. So I hope that you're having a wonderful turkey day if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving.
This is coming out. Oh my God, in my head, I'm like, why would they release the new Percy Jackson episode on Thursday?
They are releasing the new season of Stranger Things on Thanksgiving.
I think that's the day before. It's on Wednesday, right?
Yeah, you're right. It's the day before, but still.
Because I was just thinking about that. I was like, it's so interesting how they coordinated Percy Jackson and Stranger Things, but we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
I'm just confused. I'm sorry. That's my bad.
No, you're fine. There is an episode that comes out of Stranger Things on like the 22nd. It's kind of weird. Like
Are they not releasing the whole thing at once?
No, they're doing like 3 batches. It's like the first batch is coming out on Thanksgiving, the second batch is coming out right around Christmas, and then I think there's a third batch that they're putting out later. I haven't looked at the whole release schedule, but yeah.
That's no fun. I like to binge it.
Yeah, I know. The other thing, a little meta commentary here too, is that they say that people get the most enjoyment out of the show if you release it over a period of time, because that like anticipation and waiting for it builds up, and so people enjoy shows more as if they're coming out over time. So that's why Netflix's drop a whole season at a time thing has always been kind of
we're going back to the way it used to be.
So I saw this meme the other day too. End of the side tangent here in a minute, but it was like it was talking about the bundle where you get like HBO Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu all for like a certain price, and it was like ESPN too, and it's like, oh cool, so they've just brought cable back. So cable TV is just back.
No, there's like a certain amount of like nostalgia kind of centered around like the inability to pause anything, and then like we hate commercials, but like 8:00 on a Friday, you were in front of that TV, and the commercial break. Yeah, if you didn't pee before the show started, you were waiting for that first commercial break so you could go.
Everyone bails off the couch to go get a snack to go pee. You're fighting over the bathroom. That was a great time.
Good times though. Character building,
Yeah, exactly. It really does build character. And speaking of great characters, let's talk about let's yeah, back to it. Let's talk about Hades. What did you think of Hades in episode 7?
Hades, I can't remember who plays him because, like I
I
said, I didn't get to watch this one episode, but
I can't
I'm
remember.
looking him up right now.
I can't remember who plays him either. I can't remember the actor's name, but I really enjoyed his portrayal. I think that he was the right amount of ominous and kind of goofy. I think that
Okay, I remember him.
yeah.
I'm
I
looking
think
at
that
him now.
I think that Hades should be goofy to a certain extent because he's just kind of this pouty guy who hangs out down in the underworld, but also has this immense amount of power and stuff too. And he is talking. He has like some of the funniest lines in this episode. He's
Hades is supposed to be like that though. He's like a nerd who really just likes his girlfriend.
yeah. He's like, hey, I've got some. He's like, I've got some pomegranate. I've got some river water
He's
that you
not
can
really
drink.
a right. He's not really like in other people's business. Like Zeus is in everyone's business.
Yeah,
Poseidon is like, what the fuck are you doing? And Hades is like, la 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 la.
I'm just going down to my house. I'm just gonna hang out down here. Percy's like, hey, we want the bolt back. We're like, why did you plant the bolt on me? Why did you try and frame me for stealing the lightning bolt and stuff? And it's like, and Hades is like, I didn't do that. Like, why would I do that? There would be literally no reason for me to do that. I don't care. I don't want a war. Why would I? Like, I like it in the book, especially where he's like, you know how much infrastructure I have to build? You know how many highway overpasses I've had to build
He
for
was
the amount of
like straight up nerd in the book. Like he's like, I built this city and I understand how it runs. And if you do anything wrong, my trains will be late type of like nerd. Like I loved it.
yeah, he was like, man, you know how many people would die in a war between the gods? You know how much new
Too much paperwork.
how much paperwork that is alone? I mean, the courts would be overrun. It is not worth it. So
Because he's literally like the administration. He
yeah,
deals with all of the fallout of all of the things that everybody else is doing.
yeah. So
Every time
he's
someone goes for glory, someone dies.
exactly that, which is a key part of it. There's always a cost, and I think that so. One of the biggest criticisms, especially about this late part of the season, is that in the series they miss their deadline. Like they do not make their deadline to get back on time, and a lot of people criticize that because they feel that it's showing that the gods are more lenient than they should be, especially in a lot of the older stories. They are very much not lenient. I have grown to like this change a little bit because it enables some great moments, especially in the 8th episode. We'll get to that when we get to it. But another reason that I really like it is a bunch of people who are like I've heard from. I was talking about this a little bit on Reddit the other day. They were talking about how it is very representative of like people with ADHD have a really hard time with deadlines and stuff. And so I feel like that was kind of an inspired choice in that case, but it also showed how, especially in the 8th episode, which I'll talk about a little bit more when we get to that, but Percy had to like really be brave and really be sacrificial of himself to go and try and stop the war and everything. So I think that it's a fun thing to talk about the cost and the sacrifices that people have to give up when you're going for glory because it is going to cost something, whether it's your innocence in this case or your mom or anything. The glory is going to cost something. And that's a through
Right.
line in this whole series.
Now, did they substitute them missing their deadline with him missing the deadline to go see his dad? Because I know that was in the TV show. I don't remember if that was in the book,
It wasn't. So in the
where they go
book,
all the way to Santa Monica and then they're like, your dad had to leave. Sorry. And she's like, okay.
it might have been in the book in that case. I think that that might have been a little bit of it, but in the book they do make it back to Olympus on time, and there's this really great scene at the end where where Percy has to fly back to New York to make it on time, and
Yes. With the shoes that Grover was wearing this whole time.
he has to get on a plane and fly back, and it's this whole thing
Oh,
about
that one.
yeah, and it's the whole thing about how Percy has to pray to Zeus and be like, hey, I know I'm not supposed to fly ever, but I've got your bolt. I'm trying to make it back to the deadline on time. This is the sacrifice that I'm having to make in this case. And I like that, but I do feel like this enables some different like storytelling applications that can kind of do it a different way. I also, for one, loved how the Hades' palace looked. It was all black and made out of it looked like Olympus, which it's supposed to. It's supposed to be like a mirror image
It's like
of
the reverse
Olympus.
opposite, yeah.
Yeah. And it it was it was made out of this beautiful like obsidian black material, which we find out later is likely Stygian iron, which is the same thing that upcoming
Right.
character Nico D'Angelo hype that his sword is made out of. So I think that that is kind of a cool touch that they put into the show that I think could have been that is really cool.
Definitely, definitely. They showed Persephone in this one, right?
No, she wasn't in the show.
No, she was in the movie, wasn't
She
she?
was for sure in the movie.
Okay, that's who I get them that part mixed up because Stephanie is like iconic, especially when you're talking about Hades. So the fact that she wasn't in the show, I was almost surprised, but I remember she was in the movie.
Yeah. She shows up later in the book series and she plays a pretty prominent role in a
Yes,
scene, in a spoilerific scene that I'm not going to talk about right now, but in the fifth book she plays a pretty serious role in one of the intense scenes close to the beginning of the book. All right, any last thoughts on episode 7 before we move on to episode 8?
no, episode 8 is when they've already found the bolt in his backpack, right?
Yeah, so in episode 7, I'll do a quick synopsis. They kind of they enter the underworld through what's his name's mattress sales place. They go
The
they
mattresses.
they get by Cerberus, they get across the river, they kind of get drug to the edge of Tartarus by Grover's shoes, and Percy and they realize, oh dang, it's Kronos who's been behind this, and Ares gave me the backpack. So they go and they confront Hades and they say, hey, you've been working with Kronos this whole, or you've been working with Ares and Kronos this whole time to start a war. And Hades is like, why would I do that? I just want my helmet back. Like that's the whole reason that's the whole reason that the Furious went after you. That's the whole reason that everything has been going on, is because I just want my Helm of Darkness back. And Percy's like, what? Well, your Helm of Darkness is missing? Like who? What happened there? Because in the book, like you don't really know. Like you think that Hades just wants the bolt because he wants to start a war, but really he didn't tell anyone that his helmet was missing until this whole thing. So it's this whole fun scene. He's hilarious in it. And then they use the pearls to escape out of the underworld and pop up on the beach. And Ares is there waiting for them and to fight them. And then in the 8th episode, and I'll run through a quick synopsis of it quick, just so we can kind of do that and be continuous through there. It starts off with a really cool scene, which I like that it's interspersed throughout this episode, but I feel like it could have fixed a lot of pacing problems if they took the Luke stuff from this episode and moved it back in the season into the first few episodes and cut out some of the middle sections of the other episodes, so that the first few, like you spend the first episode getting to camp, the second episode all the way at camp, and then the third episode you leave camp and stuff. But if you spend the whole second episode at camp, then you have time for the Luke scenes at camp, and you have time for all these Luke scenes, and then it feels way less rushed in the beginning of the season.
Yeah, Luke didn't really get his like
His
character
mentor moment.
development. Like there was nothing to me. It was like, oh, that's just some kid that like talked to him on the first day, but there's not a lot of that like connection and like why did it hurt him so bad that he was betrayed by him? Because like the TV show didn't really have those meaningful or his backstory as much. I feel like that would have been more fun at the beginning than now, but whatever.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing, is that they try and shoehorn it in right at the last episode here. And it feels, again, like a little bit of a lack of setup and payoff, where they're trying to set things up and pay them off in the same episode. And it would have been so much better if you would have had all of these Luke scenes that they put in this last episode earlier in the season, and that way it could have had a better payoff when he, like, you can even cut back to them now, like if you have a big Luke
Right, right.
scene.
Like a flashback of a flashback. That's always nice.
Yeah. Well, and then you can kind of or you could even have Luke just like, so the lines are pretty poignant to what Percy is doing in this episode. Like they designed the scenes so that they kind of match what's going on, because it's Luke mentoring Percy on his swordsmanship and the rules of a duel and all that. And so Percy, when he's fighting Ares, is thinking about Luke and thinking about his training. And so you could have had a flashback to them, and it would have been way more evocative if it would have been set up in the first episode. But again, that's a structure issue with the season that I think could have been a lot better. On rewatch, I really enjoyed it because I knew that those scenes happened earlier, and I knew that those scenes had already been there. But, oh, and I forgot about something in the 7th episode. At the end of that episode, there's a scene with Percy and his mom, and they're in a diner, and she lights a match and drops it into the last little bit of her milkshake, and then Poseidon shows up, and they have a really deep conversation about Percy and how when Percy really needs his help, he'll be there. And in the 8th episode, when Percy is fighting Ares, a huge tidal wave comes up and knocks Ares over, and so it's this kind of nice setup and payoff, and it worked a little bit better like that because it was in just the difference of one episode made so much of a difference, because the payoff felt so much more earned, even though it was like when I was watching them back to back, it was
pushed in there.
But yeah, even though it's really not that much screen time difference, when I was watching them like week to week, it was a big, like, I was able to think about it for a week, and I knew that was coming up, and so I felt like it was more earned and it paid off better.
I feel like these shows need to get pacing advice from like anime, because like I don't know if you watch Demon Slayer, but they'll do something where they'll release a season like a movie, but then they'll also release it as the actual season. And so like I've watched the Mugen Train movie, and we watched the new one, but I think it was
in Infinity Castle.
I think the one that was before, like the training arc or something, but that one I watched, or the entertainment arc, I think it was. But anyway, I watched that one as a season. Yes, that one. But I watched it as a season, and to me, it was like so much more intense. Like watching it, like, and then having to wait a whole entire week to watch the next like 15, 20 minutes. And then it sits with you longer. It's more, you feel it more for sure. Hold on one second. I'm so sorry. All right, so we were talking about
we're talking about
pacing. The pacing.
Yes.
The pacing. And I also do wonder if the people who put these shows together actually like read the source material from start to finish.
Well, that's the thing.
I feel like that would really help with the pacing.
Yeah, well, the book is paced so well. Like, I was doing a reread of it right before I started in on my rewatch, and the book is paced just so well because you get these little sprinklings of hints, and then you get a payoff. Like it's like the first 4 chapters, there's this big mystery of what's going on, and then the 5th chapter, or the 4th chapter, it leaves you with a big cliffhanger. But then in the 5th chapter, you get a bunch of payoff for a bunch of stuff that's been going on in the first 4 chapters. And then after that, you get something new set up, and a new mystery, and a new something. And it continues to do that, and it sets stuff up and pays it off as it goes along. But stuff that are set up in the beginning doesn't get paid off until the end too. So it's like this continuing thing of setting up and paying off your hard work. Because like, I don't doubt that it's a lot of hard work to make these shows and to make them as good as they are. But I wouldn't it's about getting the payoff that you need to make it as good as you want it to be. Because I don't doubt that people love these shit. Like, it is obvious in some of the scenes, like Percy, when he has to leave his mom into the underworld and trust that Hades is going to give her back to him if he gets the helm back, he says, "Hold fast, Mom." And I teared up when I watched that again, because they set it up at the beginning like that. There's obviously been care and attention put into some of this stuff, but then other stuff, I feel like they just neglected to do the setup and the work to set some of it up. So there's a little bit of good pacing and bad pacing. But I feel like in the episode, Percy, after fighting Ares and winning the Helm of Darkness back, he is able to return the Helm of Darkness back down to Hades via one of the Furies. And then he sends Grover and Annabeth back to camp, and he goes to Olympus, and he returns the bolt to Zeus. And Zeus is like, well, you returned my bolt, and you gave me news that Kronos is rising again. So for that, I'm not gonna kill you right now. And Percy's, but but he's like, but I still have to go to war with your dad. And Percy's like, you can't, like, why would you do that? That's
This
it's
whole thing, what was the whole purpose of this, was to stop this.
Yeah, and like you're so prideful and you're so arrogant, and Zeus gets mad at him, and he's about to strike him down, and Poseidon comes in and surrender. Like he's like, hey, listen, I don't want to go to war with you. I surrender. Like you win. So Poseidon eventually comes through, and comes through for his kid for probably the first time, maybe the second time in his entire life with the big tidal wave thing, but like really for the first time being
Oh,
there.
he had his back in the when he was gonna get drowned in the toilet at the very, was it the second episode?
Yeah. In
So I
like
mean, a
small
couple times.
instances like that, but in a lot of cases, that's like Percy's power. That does come from his dad, but it's
Oh,
Percy's
really?
power.
That was, I thought the healing was his power, but I thought the water coming out of the toilet was his dad. Like, don't mess with my kid.
Nah, I'm Percy is able to actually have a conversation with his dad, and again, another moment in that scene where, uh, where Percy is talking to him, and he's like Percy recognized an ancient Greek word that his dad said, and uh, this is the best justification for his mom teaching him all this stuff, but Percy's like, or Poseidon's like, hey, Chiron taught you well. Like, I'm glad that you recognized that word. And Percy's like, Chiron didn't teach me, my mom did. And again, there I was like, man, I really did not like this the first time that I watched it, but man, I like this season infinitely more on rewatch. Just the emotion that it was able to evoke from me. I think that like a lot of people, the first time that I watched this series, I was angry because they changed so much away from the source material, and they diminished some people's roles and they gave more roles to other things, and the changes made me mad. But on rewatch, I have really enjoyed the heart of these characters, and I have really enjoyed the I don't know, the soul of the story, and the main themes of the story remain, even though the specifics have changed a lot. And so, for that reason, for these two episodes, I am going to rate episode 7 probably an 8 out of 10, and episode 8 a 9 out of 10. I think that it is an incredible um, finale to the season. I think that Percy's fight with Luke at the end is awesome. I'm not going to talk about the spoilers in that scene, but Percy and Luke fight, and Luke has Backbiter, which is an iconic sword. I think that it's just such a fun moment when, like, obviously not fun for Percy, but it is
No.
very cool when when Percy discovers that Luke was the one who betrayed him, because like Luke even says it, but Luke doesn't view it as a betrayal. Luke was there trying to recruit people to his cause.
He's playing the game. He's doing
Yeah,
exactly what he's supposed to do, and he's like, you don't get it.
yeah. Well, and Luke also, he is not wrong about a lot of things. Like, the gods do jerk the heroes around, especially him with his quest, where he went on this pointless quest and got scarred for life because of it. And especially things that we find out later about what, like, his backstory and his situation are, it's really tragic. And like his story is one of the most tragic parts of this whole thing, because in a lot of ways he is not wrong about the gods being bad parents and about them using the
Right.
heroes to break rules and to do things that they can't or can't be seen to do.
Well, like that's the one thing about Percy is that like he gets more help and acknowledgement from his dad than any of the other ones combined.
Yeah. I mean, especially like his dad is a rule breaker because he had Percy, and because of that he is able and he wants to try and be in Percy's life as much as he can, even though his brother is not. And that's a big difference between like Percy and Thalia, which we find out more about that later, which I'm just going to talk in very vague terms, but we find out that Thalia never really had any kind of relationship with her dad, because she was a child of the big three, and because her dad, being the king of the gods, felt that he could not have a relationship with her because it would be breaking the rules that he set out for the other gods. So he had to be an example, and so it's this whole thing.
Rules of the gods, not for us to understand.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else that you want to discuss from these 2 episodes?
I think overall, I mean, it's the vibe of the whole story. I really liked just that meshing of real world places and the gods that they represented, like, places of higher learning being places, temples to Athena, and how, the weirdo who would chop people in half or stretch them, is actually like a weird, sleazy mattress salesman. Like, I love the portrayal, not the betrayal, of stuff like that in throughout the books, throughout the series. And I think that the TV show got more time to do it than the movies did.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
for sure.
There's just more opportunity.
Yeah, the movies are bad like adaptations of the books, but outside of the book community, there is a great love for the movies because the concept, like the core concept itself, is so strong of having Greek demigods and Greek mythology in the modern era. It's such a strong concept and it's such a brilliant idea. Even though they didn't execute it very well, the movies are still beloved outside of the fan community. So I think that there is something speaking to the fact that this story is, and these stories are universal, even if they're not as prevalent anymore. These kind of stories are going to be around for a long time because people love to tell stories, and people like
Hmm.
there's a reason that this was a religion for thousands of years. It's a it's a powerful set of stories, and I
Have you ever
like
been
that.
to any of the actual ruins or anything?
No, so Uh, I I actually I cried the other day while I was watching TikTok, and I don't like to do that, but someone's video popped up on my page, and it was talking about how the Parthenon, for the first time ever, was
No more cage.
photographed was photographed without scaffolding on it, and
Yep.
I mean
Now we
the
just
f-
need our roof back.
exactly. I'm no, but going to Greece and going to Rome are some of my absolute like top tier. I need to go because the
Definitely do it. I think I have video of my daughter. The last time we were there, we went to the Temple of Poseidon, and when I tell you the water specifically in that area to me looked bluer and just more unnaturally, amazingly beautiful than, and the water there in general is beautiful, but something about around the Temple of Poseidon was just exquisite. And I don't know if that's a coincidence or if, he's just looking out for his area.
yeah, not my business to say, but who knows? Well, overall, I'm going to rate the series. I think that it is a solid 7 out of 10. I feel like the pacing and some of the bloat in the middle really brings it down. But man, this season is such a good, like, it was so much better of a time on rewatch. I had it probably at a 6 out of 10 on my first rewatch, and this rewatch has given it such a boost because I'm really been going through it with kind of an analytical comb, and I've enjoyed it so much more on this second watch through.
This series is definitely one of the stronger, I would say, book to video media adaptations. But yeah, it could be better. Like you said, there's criticisms for it. But I'm wondering how season 2 will go. I think they've had enough time to hear enough feedback that hopefully they'll take some of it,
Well, and book two is,
or they have, because it's already
yeah,
done.
yeah, book two is not as long. And from the rumors that have come out, well, it's confirmed that it'll be 8 episodes, so that's good. And so the same amount of episodes, and the rumors are that they're longer episodes. So it sounds like we're getting more content to cover a shorter book, and
Because yeah, these are like 30-ish minutes, 25 minutes, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah, they're not quite as long. So it sounds like we're going to get longer episodes and the same amount of them. So they're going to have more content to adapt a shorter book, which means that hopefully they'll be able to take their time and really do a good job. One character who I'm really hoping that they get right is Tyson. Tyson is such an important character, especially to Percy moving forward. And I'm not going to spoil that for people who haven't read the books, but Tyson is such an important character, and he is one of the things that I'm most looking forward to in the second season. The actor who plays him just did like a promo video. I just saw it on TikTok the other day, and it made me really hopeful that this next season is going to be really good. And so, as the season is coming out, little plug for future videos, I am going to live stream right after the episodes come out. So once the 2 episodes come out
Nice.
on that Wednesday of the 10th, I'm going to live stream right after that, and then those VODs will be available the next day, and then hopefully I'll have a long form video out by the next week about more analytical
So
discussions
is
of
it
them.
2 episodes per release? Is that their
Yeah.
schedule?
Yeah, so they're doing 2 episodes every week. I think
Okay, so
I think that's what I saw. Maybe I'll go back and check. Maybe it's just the first week
so
though.
it'll be wrapped up by Christmas,
Let me double check that because I don't
maybe.
want to. I think that's what it was, but maybe yeah, 4 weeks, 8 episodes, so 2 episodes a week.
That's not too bad.
No.
I think we've all just gotten too used to being able to binge watch stuff that it's like,
Yeah.
but like you said, waiting is better.
Waiting is better. It builds up the serotonin a little bit, all the stuff.
Yes, binging is bad for your brain.
It is bad for your brain, unfortunately, even though it is so much fun.
I'm honestly waiting for the streaming services to come out with like a playlist option where you can like put a bunch of different episodes of different shows in a list. So they'll just like play randomly so you're not binging,
Yeah, no kidding.
but you're still watching everything you want.
Yeah, man. Well, I think it's time that we move on to the game. For this week's game, we are doing a bracket of the top 16 Greek mythological creatures that I was able to put together on a bracket. So on this list, we'll just kind of go down in order, and we are ranking them not necessarily on who would win a fight, but who is the coolest, who is the most iconic, that sort of thing. And we are going through 16 of them.
16 of them. Wow. Oh yeah, there's a lot.
Yeah, there are a ton. For the first matchup, I have Typhon versus the Sphinx.
Ooh, the Sphinx. Tyson is the Cyclops, right?
Typhon, the huge storm.
Typhon. So are you talking about the rock Titan, the big one?
No, Typhon, the storm giant.
Okay. Sorry, I misheard. I heard Tyson the first time.
No, that's all right.
The father of all monsters.
Yeah, he's legit.
How did they show him? Did they show him in the series?
He's not in the book series, or he's not in the
Okay.
TV series yet, but he is in the book series. He's like one of the big bads. He was trapped under Mount St. Helens, and which, spoilers for the rest of the Percy Jackson books. Spoilers. But I kind of pulled from all of Greek mythology here just to fit a bracket better. So what do
I
you
do feel
think?
like the Sphinx. I don't know, man. It's a kitty cat. Why would you do that to him? What did the cat do to you?
Yeah.
It's not a very fair fight. I feel like he would dominate.
He would definitely dominate, but I feel like her riddles and stuff are possibly more iconic, and I feel like she is...
Oh, for sure.
It's kind of a more well-known character. I mean, we get her in everything from Harry Potter to, like, that's one of the worst things that they cut out of. It's stupid. The fourth Harry Potter movie is the
worst.
riddle.
That was so, yeah.
Spy.
And one of my favorite books too.
Yeah, seriously, it's one of the best books. Spider. It's the Jim.
I remember
Jim Carrey.
trying to read that to my kid, like in the book, like when we were reading it.
Yeah, I think controversial take. We're gonna put the Sphinx through.
I do like how he has a lot more going on though. Like depending on what version of him you're talking about, sometimes he's got like 3 dragon heads, and that's
I think
that's
we're putting
cool.
this. I think the Sphinx is going through. The next matchup is Hydra versus Charybdis. Or, sorry,
I know Hydra.
Cerberus. I'm sorry.
Cerberus. Okay, I know Cerberus. They're like cousins. Actually, they are
they're-
like cousins.
I
Actually, I
was
think
gonna
they're
say-
siblings.
Yeah.
But Cerberus's heads don't like. He doesn't have the same multiplying effect.
No, and he doesn't like shoot fire or acid depending on the.
But he's a dog, and
Gotcha.
he's cute, and he
he's the
is a
cutest.
good boy.
He's the goodest boy.
I love
and
Cerberus.
I think he's
The
more
goodest boy.
iconic. I think we go with Cerberus.
Except, get up on the Hydra's back will probably always haunt me for the rest of my life. If
Yeah.
you played Kingdom Hearts and you ever got to the Hercules Coliseum, my God.
Yeah.
I prefer fighting Cerberus than the dang Hydra.
Or the Hydra scene in the Hercules animated movie where he like.
Oh yes,
keeps-
with all of that was like iconic.
Yeah, with chopping off all the heads, and he's like, "Will you quit with the head chopping thing?"
But you know what though? The story with the Hydra and Hercules is actually one of my more favorite ones because I remember being so pissed because, he does all of this stuff. He figures out that, they burn the heads or whatever, and he defeats it, and he goes back to the king, and the king's like, yeah, who handed you that torch? You didn't do this on your own. It doesn't count. And I was like,
Disqualified.
I was like, that doesn't seem fair. My dad's like, life isn't fair.
Life isn't fair. That's the moral of the story.
The lesson.
Oh man. All right. So who do we want to put?
So that one's hard, but I'm gonna. But I feel like the cool factor for the Hydra and all of those other stories really was on another character. So I think
Hmm.
Cerberus on his own stands super cool,
I
cooler,
agree.
more iconic.
I was gonna say,
He built his own house.
yes. The next, I'm so we're putting Cerberus through. I agree on that one.
Definitely.
So the next one is a Chimera versus Medusa.
Ooh. Ah, but you
I
know what would be really cool is if Medusa turned the Chimera into a little statue.
and into a cute little statue. I think that Medusa has to win this matchup. She is just far too iconic a
There was no
character.
competition.
Yeah, chimeras are sweet. They one of my best friends, Blake, he was the co-host, and then he had some life stuff come up. But he has an amazing chimera tattoo from like his shoulder all the way across his chest and stuff. It is one of the coolest tattoos I've ever seen in my
Wow.
entire life. He's a sick guitar player. So go check Blake out. But I think that unfortunately Medusa does have to go through in this bracket.
She does, she does.
Yeah.
Such an important pair up. You really don't have stand a chance there.
No. Medusa's just too iconic. The next one
Hmm.
is a Manticore versus the Sirens.
Ooh, the
I know.
Manticore. I'm pretty sure the Manticore is what what's her name had in the little cat carrier in that fourth episode.
I think it was too.
I can't be
Honestly,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's different from what's in the book series too. I feel like it's a different thing in the third book, which again, spoilers for the books. If you haven't read the books, we're going to be spoiling some of the future seasons. But the Manticore shows up, and it's this character, Doctor.
Ah, that's what I mean. Like they just like it does. He does such a good job at taking something and being like, "What can I make this into?" That makes complete and total sense. And then someone's gonna be like, "It's almost frustrating."
I know. He's so too good at that. But the sirens are an iconic part of this next season. We see a clip of
True,
them
true, true.
in one of the trailers, and I feel like the sirens are like their whole allure is
I'm a
that
fan of the power of women, especially when we work together. And, luring men to their death just sounds like a hobby. You shouldn't hate a girl for having hobbies.
yeah. I mean, listen,
So I think they should win.
can't girls have a hobby in this economy? Girls need a
In
hobby.
this economy, that seems like a really inexpensive one. You just get together, yap with your girls, and if they're in your business, that's their problem now.
Exactly. You need to watch or listen to the Epic the Musical soundtrack so that we can yap about this the next time that you come on.
Yes, I need to find it because every time I try to look for it, I just find people talking about it. It's almost like there's too much content on the internet now
That
that I can't find what I actually want anymore.
there are too many people yapping about Epic the Musical online.
Because I tried to find it to watch it, and then people are like, you can't watch it, you have to read the script. And I was like, oh, okay, sure, whatever. And then I go to try to find the script, and they're like, you have to go to this other place. And I'm like, I can't find it in the forum, so I gave up. But I'm sure if I ask someone will like
If
give it to me.
if you go on YouTube, you can watch all of the animatics there,
Okay.
and they're pretty good. I like that too. Or it's on like Spotify or Apple Music or whatever
Oh, see, I
you
don't
stream
use
your music.
Spotify. Maybe I just need to get Spotify. I'm locked into Amazon, so if
I
I
think it's
could
on
get out of it, I would.
I think it's on Amazon too, honestly. I don't know that for a fact.
You know how they are. They have to have little exclusive things. So
Oh yeah, for sure. I do think we're gonna put the sirens through, though. I think that they are just
Siren's definitely going through.
a little bit cooler power base. And now we have a griffin versus the mother of monsters, Echidna.
I mean, Griffins seem pretty chill. She
Griffins are
seems like
sweet.
she needs a vacation.
She does seem like
Being a mother of
listen,
monsters, though,
a single
fully
mom who
relate.
has two jobs.
Probably needs one. If she wins the bracket, does she get a vacation? Because I'll
I
fast track her to the top if that's
she's
true.
I don't think that
She deserves one.
she does deserve a vacation. Unfortunately, I don't think the winner of this bracket gets a trip to
All
the
right. Well, you
Bahamas.
know what then? The Griffin's pretty chill. I like the Griffin. He's
I
always been a vibe.
I like the Griffin. I like Warhammer. I think that Karl Franz riding a Griffin into battle with his iconic Warhammer is pretty sweet. So I think the Griffin has to go through.
We are in agreement.
All
Let it to be
right.
done.
Next up, we have a centaur, just any centaur, versus
Scylla is she the tentacle monster or is she the whirlpool monster?
she's the tentacle monster. She's the one
She's like,
who has to
yeah.
eat 6 of your men if you go through her cave.
Now, that's one of my favorite. That was one of my bedtime stories. We talked about that last time.
Yeah.
That that was one of my more favorite ones. Hmm. Well, let me hear your thoughts, and then I'll let you know.
So Scylla, so the point in the story that Scylla and I think it is Charybdis that Scylla and Charybdis pose this interesting quandary for Odysseus on his journey, and it's also coming up um in the books, is that Odysseus is faced with this impossible choice between sacrificing six of his men, six of his friends who he's been on this harrowing journey with, and he's faced with either going through Scylla's lair and losing six of his friends, or going by Charybdis and losing his whole crew and his entire life. And he eventually chooses to go through Scylla's cave and sacrifices six of his men, and inevitably gets mutinied upon, and then that whole rest of the story plays out like it does. But actually, I'm not going to spoil the next season. The next season's coming right up. But in Percy Jackson, they go about it a slightly different way. That's all I'll say.
And like centaurs are just like guys that like to look at the stars, and they'll like tell your fortune. They probably make you a matcha latte. So I mean, if we're going by like who I'd rather like go to dinner with, probably the centaur. But I think
iconic monsters
who's more
speaking.
impactful? Iconic monster. Because you never meet a centaur that's like picking a fight with anybody. Really, they're not really monsters. They're more just like,
unless you're Dolores Umbridge.
they're just guys.
Then they are
Unless you're Dolores.
Then they are most definitely
said a couple of
fight
things.
with you. Maybe more.
She picked the fight.
It's true.
Well, what is it that she says? Ladies don't start fights, they finish them. Centaurs as well.
Yes. Terrible. She's the worst character. She's worse than Voldemort.
But the concept of having to sacrifice, like a sacrifice that you know is going to happen, but like knowing that it could be less of a sacrifice than your other choice, is also like, it's one of those things that it's like the reason why Greek mythology is so enduring, is because like who sat down and decided to think about that? Like, you want me to chop off your arm or chop off your leg? Let's make a whole story about it.
Yeah. The lesser of two evils is an enduring concept that is going to be around for a long time. So I think that Scylla has to go through on our bracket here.
But I think in regards to notoriety, more people do know who a centaur is.
That's true. But I think that for the purpose of the brackets, I think Scylla is going to go through. Next up, we have Percy's first ever monster kill, the Minotaur, versus Scylla's counterpart, Charybdis. I think the choice here is clear, as I think the Minotaur
Charybdis
is way more
just
iconic.
Right, because Charybdis is just like a nameless, faceless, like, like a natural disaster. You can't predict it, but you also can't like hate it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
But the Minotaur is so tragic. Like the story of his creation
and his life.
The gods meddled in that from the beginning. Yeah. So sad.
It's a terrible story, and it's about tragedy. It's about hubris, and it's about the wrath of the gods. I think that fitting this bracket, we need to go with the Minotaur here.
Definitely the Minotaur.
All right. And now we're going to go with a Cyclops versus Harpies.
Ooh. I love the story of Odysseus and the Cyclops on the island.
Polyphemus.
I do not know. Yes. Polyphemus.
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know. Like sometimes I'll hear something. I'm like, okay, I didn't know Hercules and Heracles were the same dude for a really long time. I was like, wow, you sound like, do you have a cousin? People are like,
I'm sure that you pronounce it way more correctly than I do.
It's just, it's not about better. It's just like English versus whatever. But it was just, sometimes I don't know the differences. And I'm like,
I just know how to read the words. Anyway.
Sometimes even reading it is hard. I'm like,
oh man, I don't know where to go on this one, because Cyclopses are probably more iconic than Harpies. Harpies really don't play that huge of a role in a lot of stories, I feel like.
No, and Harpies are like, see them a lot in Skyrim. I remember that. I was like terrified of them when I was playing Skyrim.
Yeah, they're little chicken demons.
Yeah. And then I remember them being in like The Last Unicorn, the harpy that was in the caravan. I don't know if you've seen that. That's an older one.
That's an older one. That's an oldie.
But yeah, definitely I would say probably the Cyclops is more iconic. Plus, what's his name in the next?
Tyson.
Spoiler. Never mind.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess that's not a spoiler. We did mention him. I enjoyed him. He's such a sweetie
and stuff. He's a sweetie. I'm so excited
I just remember him from the books, and I loved him.
Yeah, he's the best in the books, and I hope that they do him justice in the books. There was also in one of the trailers that came out, there was this bad boy right here. It's kind of hard to see on the monitor, but it's a black Pegasus, and he gets introduced in the second book, and there was a black Pegasus shown on the latest trailer that came out. So I'm so excited for that to come into play. Hopefully it comes into play. But we are back up to the top of our bracket, and it is the Sphinx versus Cerberus.
Cerberus, because we love him. He's the goodest boy.
Cerberus is the goodest boy. Now we have the strong, independent woman section. We have Medusa versus the Sirens. Two iconic ladies with two equally terrifying gimmicks. One, if you look into her eyes, she'll turn you to stone. The other ones will lure you in with visions of what you want to see. Who is more iconic?
I'm going to say Medusa, but that's only because I'm a fan for life.
I think Medusa is probably a little bit more iconic. There's not like one specific siren who has like a specifically tragic backstory, and I feel like Medusa herself has more of a specific tragic backstory rather than just a group of people with a cool power and a cool, like, iconic set of skills. I think that's Medusa has to go through in that one. The next round is a Griffin versus Scylla.
I mean, Griffin's still a chill guy, but Scylla is that very important question. So I think magnitude-wise, definitely Scylla.
I think Scylla as well. I think that Scylla has to go through on this one. And then our last matchup for this round is the Minotaur versus Cyclops.
The Minotaur.
Yeah, the Minotaur for sure.
Cyclopses are cool, but
yeah, they're very cool. There are some incredibly cool Cyclopses in the stories and some very interesting ones. But the Minotaur, like Medusa, has a very iconic backstory and a very tragic backstory. We're up to our final four with Cerberus, Medusa, and Scylla versus the Minotaur.
Oh no, Cerberus versus Medusa. They're both my favorites.
I know. This is an especially tough one.
This is my least favorite part of bracket.
I know. We're to the final four. We're at the hard part.
Well, you know what? Cerberus is Cerberus, but Medusa, I feel like, is still more impactful.
She is that
in
girl.
Regards to like the lore attached to it. She is that girl.
Yes, I think Medusa has to go through. And now on to our second two. We have the Minotaur versus Scylla. I think we have to
the Minotaur, because I feel like. Go ahead.
I was about to say we're going to go with Scylla. I think that Scylla, I think that she poses such an interesting quandary of, is it worth it? Is it worth sacrificing your friends and losing your humanity to stay alive?
But if you look at the Minotaur story, that in of itself is like, this is a cruelty that was created by, people. Versus Scylla is like, I still don't know much about their origin. Like, I'm pretty sure it's just like this ethereal thing that lives where it lives, and there's not like a reason for her being there. Which, similarly to the whirlpool, it's like a natural disaster, kind of like when people like decide not to evacuate when they know a natural disaster is coming, and it's like, well, if it takes us, it takes us. And that's kind of what I always viewed both of them kind of as. Whereas one is very completely unknown, and the other is, what's going to happen, so it's more cut and dry.
Yeah.
So it's like an unknown sacrifice versus a known sacrifice. But the Minotaur is just like, I don't know, it's not even self-sabotage. It's like, he was when you don't love the people you're supposed to love, you end up hurting people that should never have been hurt in the first place.
Well, and it's the debate of metaphorically losing your humanity because you have to sacrifice your friends versus literally losing your humanity because of the actions of other people. And so I think that the Minotaur probably has to go through because he is iconic. He is that.
He's just a sad boy.
Yeah. And he didn't choose to have that life thrust upon him. He was put in that bad situation. So our finals for
I just realized our final choice.
Yeah.
The saddest girl and the saddest boy.
Yeah. Well, and it's a tragedy of a young lady who was messed around by Poseidon and Athena, and it is the story of someone who was conceived through bad
So someone
means.
used as the bargaining chip versus someone as the byproduct of a bargaining chip of the gods, which is like,
Exactly. And
hmm.
maybe Luke was right. Maybe the gods are not good parents or good people.
Oh my God, we were watching the episode the other night, and my sister's like, at what point does it get awkward when he realizes that that's kind of her cousin? And then we had to have like a whole 20-minute, like, okay, who is more cousins to who? Like, because
Yeah.
technically Ares and Percy are cousins,
Yeah.
and all of Ares's kids are his nephew. So like
Yeah.
that's their uncle,
Yeah.
Uncle Percy.
Uncle Percy. Hey, listen, you've got to listen to Uncle Percy.
Right?
Clarice, listen to
So,
Uncle
but
Percy.
back to that would go over super well.
I really want them to do that now, actually. Now it's headcanon.
It really is. No, the Minotaur didn't die, right? Oh wait, no. Well, I mean, it died in the story, but in the TV show, he just poofed, right?
Yeah,
Do they recycle their monsters? Like,
yes.
I don't know. How does
Yeah.
that work?
Yeah, so they go down to Tartarus for a while, but even in the series, what's her name? One of the Furies.
Respawn. Got it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. They go down to Tartarus, they regenerate for a while, and they pop back up eventually. And spoilers, 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 spoilers. But the Minotaur does show back up in the fifth book.
Okay, that's what I was thinking. I was like, he's not like dead. Like obviously in the labyrinth when what's his name kills him. Yes, he's done.
Yeah,
But I wasn't sure about the actual.
yeah.
But in regards to the bracket, I'm still gonna go with Medusa.
I think Medusa, she is more aware of the actions that put her into the situation that she got put into, and she ends up living a almost a sadder life because while the Minotaur is still like he still is more intelligent than some other monsters on this list, he is in a lot of cases considered to be a little bit less like cognitive than a lot of things, where
Yeah.
Medusa is still fully in her own mind. She is just made into this hideous monster who, if anyone looks in her eyes or shares intimacy with her, she turns them into stone. That is a terrible, tragic curse that was put onto her because she was smooching on the wrong person at the wrong place. That is a terrible
What was she though? Like, I mean, we could get into like the seriousness of Medusa, but like I do think that like the thing
well,
about the Minotaur is that it brings up the whole like intellectual disability versus like your awareness when you're going through something tragic. Like, is it more traumatic to not know what's going on, or is it more traumatic to understand the gravity of your situation? Kind of a thing.
yeah, and that is a very interesting discussion. I do tend to lean more towards the side of Medusa personally because I feel like she has that understanding, and so she has to sit with that rage and that anger about it, where the Minotaur might not understand why he was created that way. Have you ever read? It's a horror kind of short story called "I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream" or something like that.
It sounds familiar, like the yellow wallpaper-esque.
It's about AI in the future that like takes over the world, and it keeps these six people alive to like basically torture for the rest of their lives. It's crazy. It's a whole thing, but that's kind of the concept of it. Is it understands that it's alive, but it's basically gives some of the humans drugs so that they don't understand their life. But the last character, he understands that he is in this situation. He knows what's going on, and so it kind of talks about the same thing. And it doesn't come to a concrete answer either way either. So I think that it could go either way. But what are your kind of final thoughts? What who do you think should win?
I mean, one of us could say Medusa and one of us could say the Minotaur, and then we could leave it up to the chat to decide.
I think that is an excellent idea. Why don't we'll leave it up to you guys down in the comments down below.
We can't decide.
We have come to an impasse, so we need you guys to be our impartial third party. Tell us who is the more iconic Greek mythological character. I think that our final four are great, and our final two are probably the best out there, Medusa and the Minotaur. So tell us down in the comments down below who is the more tragic character and the more iconic character, Medusa or the Minotaur. And with that, that will probably wrap up our episode. Thank you so much for coming on, Anna. Why don't you go ahead and plug all of the places that people can find you and anything else that you want to plug?
Well, if you search Nerdy Mamas on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest. You will find me if you're looking for sustainable baby products, nerdy gear if you're a parent, or nerdy gear if you're just a nerd. Hit me up, look me up. I've got the goods.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Once again, it is always a pleasure having you on. I have been Casey Budge. Please be sure to wherever you are listening. Be sure to give us a review and be sure to follow us wherever you are listening. And be sure to find our social medias at the Oracle Podcast on Instagram, on YouTube, and on TikTok. And go follow my personal page and see this amazing poster and get yourself one of them. If you have anyone in your life who loves Percy Jackson, this is seriously, not even just to plug it. This is such an amazing poster. It's very thick material and it is so intricately drawn, and it's not made by AI, and it is supporting
Yeah.
it. And it's supporting a small business. So if you have someone in your life who likes Percy Jackson and you don't know what to get them, this is such a sweet poster. I know that